Following is an exclusive production of Minuteman Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing with insight and info from UMass and Mac Insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to the show. We're coming off the bye week and ready for Missouri. We got a lot to get to. Rene, good to see you. How was your week? You've been working a ton here.
Been busy. It was good. I had JMU at Liberty, 10-10 game at halftime, but JMU is a very good team out of the Sun Belt. They're gonna be there at the end, if not in the Sun Belt championship, fighting for it. I think they're gonna be in the Sun Belt championship. Really good defensive front. They just leaned on Liberty, ran the ball tremendously in the second half. Of course, their head coach is Bob Chesney. A lot of the UMass fans know Coach Chesney was at Holy Cross for a while. Did really well there. But, yeah, a real good team. And I'm happy to say I woke up today, got on the pod, and no technical issues today, Mike. We didn't have to call each other. No FaceTime, no turn the phone around. Audio's good. So I think that's a good omen for the week.
Yeah, you're in good shape. You're looking good. You're sounding good. Yeah, we're going to get to Missouri talk in a little bit later on the show. We got Pat MacWilliams joining us in a little bit, too, as well, from the Mass Collective. That's going to be great. We're going to talk to him. But some tough news, some sad news out of college football world that you talked to me about yesterday, Rene.
Yeah, so, right off, I just want to send my prayers to Sean Clark's wife and children. He's got 2 teenage kids. If you don't know Sean Clark, he was the head coach at Appalachian State the last 5 years previous. Mike and I, we had an App State game last year. We sat down, talked to him, and we've had him a bunch of times in the past. And then this year, he was the offensive line coach at UCF. I went out to 2 of their practices. I mean, I literally just had a great conversation with Sean in week 1, and he told me his family loved Orlando. His wife loved it, loved being here, and then he had a medical episode shortly thereafter that conversation I had with him about a week later, and he's been in the hospital, and he passed away Sunday at 50 years old. So just a great man. And it's heartbreaking for anyone that knew him and really for the college football community. So again, if you pray, I'm a devout Christian, so I know I'll see Sean Clark again. There's no doubt, but it's hard at 50 years old, and so just pray for him. Pray for his family, pray for his UCF football family. I talked to some of the assistant coaches there this week, too. They're devastated as well. It's just tough. And let me say this, too. In this world that we live in, and, we do this podcast for UMass, and it's been UMass football, it's been pretty energetic, right, on all spectrums. People are passionate. People are upset with not winning. And the gamut, runs the gamut. At the end of the day, guys and girls, it's like, let's remember what's important, right? Our family, our lives. We never know when our day is going to come, when our number's called. So just even though maybe your team's not winning as much as you want, maybe things aren't going, let's try to always keep things in perspective and still be passionate, but love one another, love your family, because you just never know. So just praying for Sean Clark's family.
Yeah, well said, Rene. I echo that too as well. And that's the thing, it's sports, but these are people, right? I mean, These are people. We got to know him, really great guy, and we do. I send prayers and thoughts out to his family as well. And that's what it's all about. When you really get to know some of these coaches and people, it's like they got lives too. They got families. It's not just about the game. So it is very unfortunate to hear that, and wish their family all the best. Hate hearing that kind of news.
Oh, and to your point, I mean, 15, 16 years at ESPN, we meet these guys. We become friends with them. I mean, we're traveling. We have meetings with them, and it can be heartbreaking for sure, and it is.
A lot to talk about today. We'll get into Missouri in just a little bit. But right now I want to bring on our special guest this week, a huge UMass supporter. It's been awesome. He's just up at the golf tournament, runs the Mass Collective. Pat MacWilliams is with us. What's going on, Pat?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, good to see you. I know Reedy's got a bunch of questions to go for. He's all excited about this.
Maybe not a bunch, but I got a couple because, I think everyone does, Pat, because you know this. I mean, the landscaping, this is a college football-centric show, but it's really a UMass show, UMass basketball, UMass athletics. The landscape of college athletics is changing every day. And, I mean, it really changed a lot with the House settlement. So people thought like NIL was going away because there is a lot of schools that kind of done away with their NIL. So basically, before we get into specific questions, Pat, just kind of give us an overview of the Mass Collective, how you started, how long you've been going, and just explain that to everyone and kind of introduce yourself to the UMass fan base.
Yeah, sure. So we started back in October 2022. NIL first became legal July 1st, 2021. And my business, my professional business, Five College Movers, we actually signed the first 3 Massachusetts for the state NIL athletes back on July 1st, 2021. So I've been involved in the space at some level since day one. We signed Noah Fernandez, Bobby Trevingo, and Sam Breen day one. NIL first became legal. We had no idea what it meant or what it would be or what it would evolve to this point. And ever since that first day, it's been everything changes every single day. And those deals that we did back then, they really weren't significant money. They might have been $1,500, $2,000, whatever. But to a college student athlete, that's significant, especially going from zero. And so after, we kind of did a couple of deals throughout the season, just directly through my professional work. I saw other collectives across the country opening up and supporting their programs and really creating an advantage through recruiting and retention, even though it wasn't supposed to be that. That's exactly what it was for. And so I just saw a need and said, hey, we need to start something at UMass. And so that summer of 2022, that following summer, I talked to a few people, talked to the administration, and there was a couple other collectives that were starting at the time. Jim Hunt was starting Go Mass NIL. And we were going to work together at the onset, but I said I really want to do my own thing, and we can kind of see if we'll work together eventually. But want to do my own thing and just have it be basketball centric. And so Jim was going to do all other sports. We were going to do basketball, and then that's how it kind of began in October 2022. Then we started doing some real membership recruitment and donor recruitment and donor education from the onset right away from October 22 to through when we signed our first athlete in December 2022 as well. And then it just kind of, it's evolved significantly since then. Go Mass NIL only lasted a couple of months. It's a ton of work. And I don't think anybody really understood, not even myself, how much work it would be, because you're running a business. It's a completely 100% legitimate business that you have to run, and you need people to be 100% lockstep, just like any business too. So that's why I wanted to do it on my own and not have board meetings after board meetings. That, from my experience in the court club, which was great, but there was a lot of meetings that we had just to schedule other meetings. And so I said, for the Mass Collective, we're going to get stuff done. We're not going to hit all home runs. We're going to strike out. We're going to hit a lot of singles, but we're going to get stuff done and move the ball forward. So that's what my whole thing was from the get-go. And then we've really grown into having almost 500 members at our peak, or 500 total donors. And we've seen so many different things change over time too. But the reason why, I kind of wanted to do it on my own, but then also we have bi-weekly meetings during the season for our members. So we're completely transparent about all our operations, and no other collective, I think, honestly, in the country can say that. So while, we do have a smaller leadership group, technically, we want to be as transparent as possible with our membership. And I think that's really provided a good community for everybody too, throughout the ups and downs and throughout the changes as well. So I hope that wasn't too long of an intro. But.
No, that's huge. Yeah, I mean, and to me, I was just like, it's admirable how much like work you've been doing and how much this has grown. I just kind of wanted to ask you personally, like, why you felt the need yourself, like, to do this. I mean, it's like you come out, you're like, nope, we got to get this done. We got to make money. We got to, we got to make this place the best we can be. I mean, that's pretty cool of you to kind of want to start that charge. Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, I've always been a member of the court club I'm 39 now, so maybe 15, 16 years. So I joined very young. I was 23, 24. And I think my first check I sent to the court club, I was worrying about it clearing and not bouncing, like that's how much I really cared about the program, even going back then. And so that, you can't really just like turn that on for somebody. It has to be, kind of bred into them almost. And so when I started, I said, look, I really enjoyed my time with the court club and everything that I've done, supporting UMass through philanthropy, in the last 15 years, but I really want to have more of just let's get stuff done. And because the rules are going to change week by week, and they really have over time. So my whole thing was just to get things done and also bring people in that might not be a member of the court club, might not be a donor before to UMass. Expose these people to and give them, access that they might not have before, have them in creative discussions, have them in, respectful disagreements and arguments too. And I think we've done a really good job of building a community that, talks all the time about this stuff and has made a pretty big difference over time, even though, last year wasn't very successful on the basketball end, but the year before that was the best year we've had in 10 years. And we're not taking all the credit for that by any means, but I think that, we made some moves that definitely, helped the program to a point.
Okay, so I think a lot of people are confused because they hear in the media, okay, this house settlement went through, was approved, so now there's revenue sharing, right? So the schools can pay players directly. So a lot of universities out there kind of did away with their NIL. It's going to be a long-winded question, Pat. I apologize. But there is still NIL collectives going, like the Massachusetts collective, even with the rev share. So this is going to be a football-centric question because I think a lot of the football fans remembered, okay, Midnight Ride, that was a football-only collective. That went away. I'm not here to say, why or why not is it not going, but it's no longer going. So it was just yours. So did you kind of take over any NIL deals that maybe a football player would have? And really, Pat, for that matter, if a women's soccer player got an NIL deal, does it have to get run through the Massachusetts collective, or can the school do it? Kind of explain that to people in that whole process.
Yeah, so I'll start with the football piece of it. And we always started out by just being basketball, men's and women's basketball. And then, as things were happening last year with the football collective, we stepped in to kind of, take over as needed as they were, closing operations. And so we stepped in to take over the deals that they had active at the time. And then in the kind of bridge period before July 1st as well, to execute all those deals as well. So we've done quite a few deals, and it's a large lift just on the clerical side of onboarding people, just onboarding people into our our payment system, onboarding them to our contract system, everything. So it's really like running a business, like I said. But yeah, so we were active in football at that point. I don't foresee us being inactive in football going forward. That's pretty much all internal now. Okay. I think that's a good way for that to be. And with basketball, we're kind of debating that now too. Does it make sense for us to still be an independent entity? Does that benefit the school? Or does it benefit the school to move everything in-house through ScriptU or whatever it may be? So we're kind of in that stage now where we're looking at our next step, and we're saying, all right, we've evolved so much over the last 3 years, and our 3-year anniversary will literally be in 24 days or something. So our next step is it's not defined yet. So we might go to the model where all NIL goes in-house, and a lot of schools are doing that. We're not sure if that will be our model or not. That's still discussions that we have to have, one with our memberships base, who will really make that decision ultimately. Then with the coaching staff and the administration as well. So the whole reason that we started this thing was to benefit the program. And so whatever we can do to benefit the program in the most impactful way, whether it's staying an independent entity or having the school do everything internally, we'll do whatever is in the best interest of the program. But so outside of that as well, for other sports, we've never done a deal outside of men's basketball, women's basketball, and football, though. That was the other collective that I can't really speak to what their operations were, but I know that internally that they're doing deals with other programs as well, but obviously focused on the revenue sports like the rest of the country and NCAA.
So, Mike, let me follow up with that, because that's awesome, because I actually learned something here. So I was under the impression that, that the NIL deal, not the rev share, because it's two different things. The NIL deal had to have a collective to go through, but that's not true, and it makes sense. So in-house, they can do an NIL deal separate from rev share, and then from that, whatever that kind, like if a car dealership comes to a football player and says, we want to do an NIL deal, they can now run that through in-house, right, Pat? But then it's all that stuff still has to go to the new clearinghouse to be approved, to make sure it's kosher and all that stuff, right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, the way it's pretty complicated. So the way it sits now, it's more difficult for a collective to execute a deal. What we've seen in the pipeline now, and what our counsel Midwinter is saying as well, is that when you submit a deal now to go through the clearinghouse, originally Deloitte said it would take 48 hours to either be approved or denied. Of course, that's not true. It's taking 2 to 3 months to even have something move, and you can get a kickback. And so that means we can't technically pay the players at that time through a collective. The school can directly pay them, though. So they don't have to go through that same clearinghouse. A lot of conferences have, the MAC conference might have a template, which they submit. It's pretty much rubber stamped. With a car dealership or something like that, kind of depends on their relationship. Like we have a great relationship with Ford Northampton and Scott Sarrett, who graciously gave, Rasul Diggins a car last year, which was a huge, huge thing for him, having family in Philadelphia and in Connecticut as well, a young daughter. But so if Scott and Ford Northampton wanted to do a deal in the future, we've actually talked to them this summer about some things involved with that too. We're kind of at that same point I mentioned earlier where we're like, all right, what is the best way to have this activate quickly and efficiently and run, little cost to the collective, the university, or the sponsor as well, and get, these keys in the kids' hands as quick as possible. So we're still navigating that. So I don't have a great answer for that, just because it's still always changing. But I think now a lot of local businesses will lean more on going through directly through the school, through deals with Learfield, who manages the multimedia rights for UMass, and like Five College Movers had a sponsorship deal with them for like 15 years or something. So. Yeah. But yeah, so I can't give you like a concrete answer on that, but that's kind of just an overview of how it's still always changing.
You were great. You answered it perfectly. And just so people know, in case you're not aware, correct me if I'm wrong with this number, Pat, any NIL deal over $600, which isn't a lot of money, has to go through this clearinghouse. And Deloitte, which is the company, the firm that looks at all these deals.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And we thought, like, originally, when we were going into July 1st, we said, all right, great. Like, this is going to be a really easy way. We'll just submit it to this clearinghouse. Seems like they have the website up and everything. But like, I probably could have built a better website overnight with like a Google form that, would be approved. So it's frustrating, but that's just how it kind of goes. And like, that's kind of the NCAA's MO right now. And because they want to give the power, not the power, but they want to give everything centralized back to the schools, which totally makes sense. I totally get it. And so maybe this 3-year window or 4 or 5 year window when collectives could be active or can be active is just, going to be a period that we'll look back on and won't really be functional in the future. But for UMass, they're never going to spend up to the current cap of $22 million. It's just not going to happen. But for Ohio State, that might just be like their salaries for their linemen, So they need their collectives and outside sources of, one, revenue, but also an allocation as well. So I really don't see them going away at that higher level. For us, we're kind of at that point where we're saying, all right, does it benefit us to have 2 different sources? Are we confusing our donors and supporters by saying, hey, donate to the collective, donate to Script U, do this, do that? Are we cannibalizing them? Are we just, donor fatigue will always be there, especially when, hey, like, we haven't been good in basketball or football for a long time. And so there's a lot of, different things that we have to kind of overcome for that too. So we're like I said, we're trying to figure out what the best next step is with that.
Mike, real quick, and I'm going to let you go. And so Pat brought up something really important that I think people need to realize. Talked about that $22 million cap that we're never – forget UMass. None of the group of 6 teams. They're not – no one's getting there. No one's getting there. But the Ohio State, the Alabama, they could pay that $22 million out of their rev share and then go above and beyond that with NIL, right? So they can really spend 30, 40, 50, 60 million. Texas Tech's a great example this year. They spent, I don't know what the final number was, a lot of money. So I just think it's important for people to understand. So I'm glad Pat brought that up.
Yeah. And I wonder what, like we're people were upset about the loss to Iowa last week. It's like, well, their budget for football NIL, I can't even imagine. Must be 15 million, maybe even more. So we're not really comparing apples to apples. These are, it's a tough, I don't want to get into too much football talk and take the wind out of your guys' sails with that. But I think Coach Joe's doing a great job. I'm really excited to get in the MAC play, and hopefully we can come out of Missouri healthy as well. But that's just, you can just see like the huge disproportion of the salaries and the resources just through NIL and rev share and that too.
All right. So Pat, let me ask this. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. You've supported UMass for a while. You put a lot of money into the program. So has a lot of the donors and people on your board and then helping with the Mass Collective. What are your conversations like with Coach Martin, with Ryan Bamford, with everybody when they want players? When do you guys have a stake in that? I mean, there's a lot of money going in here, and it's like, whoa, we got to pay this guy $200,000. Like, how does all that come about so that everybody feels like, hey, I'm contributing, we're doing the right thing, I had a say in this, and we're not just like, oh, I hope this works. You know what I mean?
It's evolved so much too. Since the first player we signed to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. And even, individually with players too. For an example, I think that a real tipping point was of, the importance of NIL and the importance of, the collective and supporting it and supporting the program was like the whole RJ Luis saga. When he originally, signed with us, 2-year deal for $100,000, which was a ton of money for us back then, still is now. And then he signed with us. We announced it, and then he ghosted us for a week or so, and then he's with St. John's. I remember when RJ walked into Frank's office that afternoon. Frank called. We had a collective meeting scheduled that night with all our members, and Frank called me that afternoon and said, "Hey, RJ's transferring. He's going to enter the portal in like an hour." I was like, "Man, it's really disappointing. People are going to be pissed. People are going to be upset." And I was like, "Do you want to cancel the meeting?" And Frank said, "Absolutely not. Make it public. Make it so everybody, not just collective members, can come in and be involved in this process." And from there, we had a great meeting. Like, there was no negativity in that meeting. There might be a lot online and people that will just, tweet stuff or say stuff. But Frank came in that meeting. I think we had over 200 people in it. And we just discussed, hey, what are the next steps? What's our process going to be going forward when we're looking to, retain players or recruit players? And it's still evolved since then. But since that meeting, we went out and Frank went out and got Josh Cohen, who is A10, first team player. Jalen Curry, who was an A10 rookie of the year player. Retained Matt Cross, who was first team A10. And retained Rasul Diggins, who was the most improved player in the league that year. So that's 2 years ago. And I think we did a great job in that cycle. Frank did a great job in that cycle, but everything changes so quickly. So last year we were involved in conversations more as well. And then this year a little bit less in the off season, just because of the internal stuff going on too. But every conversation is different based on if it's a freshman, if it's a transfer, if the student athlete has an agent, if they have a previous relationship with Frank, like if someone that he identified in high school and that is coming in as a transfer. So everyone is completely different. And I think that's how it will be going forward too, even if it's all internal. So that's been really unique just seeing, and that's why we also needed the flexibility and agility to not just have, necessarily set processes of how we do things. Because in college athletics, if you have that, you're not going to last for more than a week.
Now, we were just up at the golf outing. You run an awesome golf outing. We're at Crump and Fox there in Bertiston. You have a few other events. Talk to us about that, how people can get involved, how they can support it, and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't really set our event schedule for this year yet, but some, examples in the past of things we've done, which we want to replicate in the future. 2 years ago, when we're having a lot of success in the court, we had, I think 4 or 5 post-game like parties, meetups. Mostly would be at the Spoke. This year, we'll probably do them at the Rec, which is Chad's new spot there, which is like a UMass theme bar. Our bar and restaurant. It's kind of like gives a Rafters vibes, which we dearly miss in the area, which we need back. So we'll do some post game events there, which we always have the coaching staff come, a couple of players as well. The chancellor has shown up before. So and luckily that first year that we did those, I think the team was like 4-1. So it's hard to do it after a loss, but I think the team was 4-1. So we have a good winning percentage in that. And then we always do a yearly event with Amy and her team at Hanush Jewelers as well in February, right around Valentine's Day. And I can't say enough about Amy and her team and how much they've done, not only just for the collective and for the basketball program and football program, but just behind the scenes too, and being good people and helping people and doing things that don't go up on the scoreboard or aren't publicly facing. And then, we'll probably do the golf tournament. I would love to do the golf tournament again, obviously. It's a lot of work, so I'm always very thrilled when it's over because I played in it for 12 straight years before I started running it. It's a lot more fun playing in it than just watching everybody else have fun. But then, we've done things in the past. We did the Marcus Camby live podcast and different events like that. So we're kind of open to whatever our membership is kind of interested in, and however we can, generate the most revenue and interest for the program and camaraderie around the program too. We'll probably do something around the cage floor project soon as well in October and November, because we've cut up 500 pieces of the cage floor now. I think we've sold almost 300 of them, 320 or something.
You're right there.
There's your piece right there. So, so we'll probably do an event around that as well. So we haven't have our schedule quite set yet. We have some, decisions that we have to make about how we're going to continue operations and what that's going to look like in the next couple of weeks too. But regardless, we've built a great community and camaraderie amongst fans and people that want to be involved too. We've had people that haven't missed like 1 or 2 meetings. We've had probably 50 of them. You can talk and you can say you want to be involved, I want to support the program, I want to do this, and you can say, hey, I want the state to invest. That's great. Everybody wants that. But fans need to invest too. Supporters need to invest, even if the team's not doing as well as you'd like. Because look at the teams that you want to be comparable with, like VCU for basketball. Those fans invest at a significantly higher level, and they're probably a lot louder too when things aren't going well. But I think we've built a great community of people that we'll ride the ups and downs, and we just have to keep building on that as well.
Yeah, I mean that's why we have you on too, Pat. And it's like, from being at that tournament, it's like I echo those sentiments because like everybody there is a huge supporter. Like they love UMass, they want to see it do well, regardless of the outcomes. Like, we all wish we were doing better. I get it. But like that's what it is. It's a community. It's people that care about the school, that want to see it do well, that help invest. And people have said that when they've watched this podcast, as me and Rene, they say, "Oh, we're cheerleaders. We're always being positive." It's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, do we all want to come out here and just bitch and say this sucks? No, we want to figure out a way to change it and make it better. So it's like you, your group, us, everybody's just got to come together. Like, I'm not going to sit there and throw BS up on Twitter, which I know you've probably dealt with a bunch too. It's like, what do you say to all those people? It's like, guys, be with us, not against us. Like,
be careful on X, Pat. They can be nasty.
It's funny, actually. Sunday before the golf tournament, it was right after the Iowa loss. And I said something just on Twitter. Didn't think it was rude or mean or whatever. I thought it was just supportive, saying, hey, we need people to take ownership of the program. It's a bye week. Let's move on to next week. Let's stay off the keyboards. And so I'm driving the Crump and Fox from Saratoga on Saturday, just taking shrapnel on Twitter the entire time. I had to delete the app from my phone. My girlfriend Lexi's like, what is going on? Why are you so mad right now? But I mean, that's part of my job, I guess. And maybe I should have not said what I said, but it's just, I think that if we can all be frustrated together, because we should be, but like there's more positive outcomes that we can do if we work together on things. And I think Monday was really helpful for me personally, and just from an emotion standpoint, because that was really tough on Sunday, like for me, like, but
especially if you're not used to it.
Yeah. And so Monday, seeing people, in 3 years, I've had some shrapnel thrown at me before, but I mean, it's just, I think there's a right for people to be frustrated and mad. But there's an opportunity there to take the next step and say, okay, what can we do collectively to make this better? It doesn't have to be through the collective. It could be through your own individual thing you're doing on your own. But some of these narratives are just too tired. I think our narrative should be, hey, let's come together, because when we win, it's going to be a lot of fun too. And when we win, I want to be able to go out to the Rec or the Spoke or Amherst Public House and see these people and say, hell yeah, that was a lot of fun. And we might disagree on some things, but we can still be friends, still be respectful about our fandom and how, because we are all cheerleaders basically, and how we cheer for the program. So I hope that, changes a little bit going forward, but winning cures all. So I think both programs are in a position to really take the next step very soon too.
Well said. You can't say it any better. I think that's a great one to end it on, Mike, unless you got something else.
I just want to say, hey, how do we get involved? How do people get involved? How can we help? How do we grow this thing and just make this the best we can for UMass in general?
Yeah, stay tuned to our our socials and our email list. I think most people are on it. And then we'll also, our website, umasscollective.com, will be updated soon with some new options and just a plan for how we're going to attack going forward with, we had a plan that we changed it like 15 times before July 1st and then 15 times after July 1st, just because everything has changed so much. So we're still working on how our operations will go, but umasscollective.com, we'll have, go on UMass Hoops. We have a thread on there as well. On Twitter, obviously, Instagram, you can reach out. People can reach out to me directly as well. My phone number is pretty regularly available out there. But I love chatting about both football, basketball, and anything UMass really. So even if something is someone has something negative or a complaint or something that they want to ask about that might be kind of controversial, that just call me. I'm more than happy to talk about it. Even if we disagree on things, or even if we might not come to an agreement in the end, like we're all in the same boat. We're all here because we love UMass. So I think transparency and communication is the most important thing.
Yep. Pat, really appreciate it, man. Great talking to you. Thanks for all the insight to everyone, and we'll be in touch soon, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, guys.
All right. Thank you. All right, Pat MacWilliams from the Mass Collective. Boy, that was great. And I mean, we needed to do that, right, Rene? I mean, people need to understand how it works and what's going on. And I'm glad, he said all that he said. He's been a huge supporter for UMass. I mean, he's also one of our supporters on the documentary as well. He's been great. I just want to thank, Pat for everything he's done. Ryan had some nice things to say about him at the golf outing a couple weeks ago. I mean, just to step up, right? And to say, hey, no, we want to see this do well. So I can't imagine why people get so pissed off when all they're trying to do is help the program. You want to see it do well. It's like I watched that thing with with Ryan yesterday on the press conference we can get into. It's like, look, no one's trying not to do well. They're all trying hard. Like, we'll get into it, but I'm just saying it was really good to hear from him and all that he talked about. I wanted to see what you thought just in terms of the overall gist of how it changes so rapidly, and like, it's hard. It's hard to-
I've never met Pat. That's the first time I've ever spoken to him. And so I can't wait to meet him in person. But yeah, the landscape is changing so quickly. So let's get right into it. Press conference yesterday, normal for Coach Joe Harris-Simiak, right?
Yeah.
But Ryan Bamford had one too. And I know the fans, because they hadn't really heard from Ryan in a while. Let's start with Joe. Listen, the team, roster 100. The team is devastated with injuries right now. Devastated, decimated, whatever adjective you want to use. We know that there's a huge depth issue. They had to move a lot of players around different positions, and but they know that. Joe knows that. No one's making excuses. That's football. It gets back to you're going to go to a hostile environment in Missouri, who's really good. It's their homecoming. And again, you game plan and you go there with a mindset to win. You always do that, right? Because if you don't, why are we playing the games? You go there and you fight your ass off. But at the end of the day, as a coaching staff, you got to try to put people in the best position they can to be successful. You got to get people, and I said this before when they went up against Iowa, get people meaningful reps that maybe need those live game reps, right? And then get them ready for the MAC schedule, because this season, by and large, is going to be judged on that 8-game MAC schedule to end the season. So got to get out. I mean, it's more imperative than ever to get out of Missouri healthy, because you're already depleted, right, with your roster and your depth. So you got to get out of there. And so, and I should say too, because I said I would announce it, I will be on the call for ESPN Saturday night. So I'll be in Como, Columbia, Missouri, on the call.
You are calling the game.
I've called UMass a bunch of times, so people get surprised, but I've called them, and I'm probably tougher on them than most analysts. So you're not going to get any, I don't sugarcoat things, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And then, what Ryan said, listen, a lot of what Ryan said, Mike, we've covered on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
I think if you really listened, he talked about maybe the coaching staff knew it was going to be hard, and the off-field staff that he brought in knew it was going to be hard, but maybe didn't realize how hard. He actually said that specifically, and I agree with that 100%. He said he met with the staff and the off the field staff, which I think is really important. I think Ryan and Joe both talked about the plan to get away from, and I get it, it's been hard. Listen, 5 head coaches this is now the 14th season from FCS to FBS, 5 head coaches. So got to get a plan, got to get stability. And you heard Joe say he'd like to take about 20 high school recruits paired with about 8 to 10 portal guys, fill in the holes. And this way build that culture that we talked about that's hard to get just through the portal. And I agree with that. And guess what? If you get a kid through high school and he does really well in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and he leaves, so be it. That's a good thing. That means he's doing good and the team's doing good, right?
Yeah.
So that's the model you got to go with. So they said a lot of things. Listen, the $30 million for the update, we'll call them updates to the stadium. And everyone went nuts about that because, they compared it with a lot of other big programs, compared it to Rhode Island. Listen, guys, I'm with you. I wish it was $100 million. I wish it was 500. I wish it was $1 billion. I wish we had the most state-of-the-art stadium. I'm with you, but it's not reality, right? So, again, control what you can control. Ryan says $30 million over the next 3 years. Let's get behind that. And, I wish they would call me because, listen, as far as UMass people that are engaged with the program doing this podcast, I played, my first year at Warren McGurk Alumni Stadium was 1991. I've been around. I have a ton of ideas that I would love to see that I think you could fit in under that $30 million. That would make a world of difference to the facade, what that stadium looks like. And I've shared them with you, Mike. So I don't know. Maybe they'll come see me in the booth Saturday night.
Maybe
there's a lot going on. But listen, Ryan also said before I give it back to you, Mike, he also knows they're here. And there's only up to go. And that's it. We all got to be pushing up one direction.
No. And look, I'm with you. And that's the frustration because, 34 years later, that stadium doesn't look any different than when you were running on the field. I shouldn't say that. And with the Enzo facility and the new press box. But again, stands and everything, it's the same thing than when you play there. So I hear you, but I think that he said in that press conference yesterday too that this is being accelerated a little bit more, than the 2 to 3 year plan, or because that was like, okay, hey, how much longer do we have to he knows it's got to be even a little bit quicker because of everything that's happened right now and the way that the season has started, especially depth. They talked about depth. We don't have a lot of guys. There's a lot of injuries. So it's like,
yes,
look, I get it. I know everybody's like, oh, that's an excuse. No, it's reality. Guys are hurt. They don't have quality backups right now. They just don't. Okay. And so I don't know how much I'm even expecting, to be honest with you. I don't, first off, for this game. And then even in the MAC schedule, right, Rene, until it kind of gets figured out a little bit. I don't want to be here's
the deal. Here's the deal. And I've said this. I think, so there's a lot of injuries. I think the skill at UMass is fine and can excel and win games in the MAC. I do. I think there's a core of line play. When I say line play, interior line play, I talk about defensive line, offensive line. I think there's a core there that's good and that can do things in the MAC. I'm with you. You just played Iowa. Missouri's got one of the best defensive fronts in the country. Linebackers, really, really good. So it's imperative that you go up there, you try your best, you get meaningful reps, meaningful experience, and you get out of there as healthy as you can. Because Iowa, you really got beat up on top of already being beat up. And then you get ready for those 8 games in the MAC. So that's what you have to do. And so A.J. Harrison's getting the start. I love that. I hope Coach Bajakian can scheme up enough to get him some plays, get him some time so we can see that elite arm talent that he has. He spins it better than anyone. So I'm excited for that. I just hope they can scheme up enough to give him some time to spin it and take some shots. Obviously, huge news. T.Y. Harding's out for the season. So hopefully he can get healed up. And then in that plan going forward, it's roster retention. You can't lose someone like T.Y. Harding to the portal. So you got to keep him. You got to be able to bring him back, heal him up. D.D. Snyder had that big interception. Coach said he's out 6 to 8 weeks. That's essentially the season. I know D.D.'s the senior, but maybe he can get a medical red shirt back. I'm not really sure of his entire career because, you want to finish your playing career on a high note, not going out with an injury. And, there's other guys we've talked about. So they got to go in there, play hard, and then just get ready for Western Michigan, right? But again, You go and try to win the game, Mike. You do. I mean, you just don't write it off. We'll also say this, and I don't know if Coach Harris-Simiak will say this. I don't know if he said it in his press conference. If it's me and I got a guy that can play, he's cleared to play, like a Brandon Rose. If he's 80, 90%, he could technically play. Why would you even put him in there where he takes one more shot on that shoulder and then he's out for the season, right? So if you got any tweeners that are 80, 90%, 70%, I would just give them another, essentially, a week. It's going to really 2 weeks to heal. And then get ready for MAC play. Again, it's not because you're giving up on Missouri. It's just because that 8-game MAC schedule, that's what you're going to be judged on, honestly.
All right. Well, you'll be on the call this weekend. I'll be watching. We'll all be watching. You'll have a little bit more insight and info. We can talk to the coaches and everything that you see from start to finish. We'll recap it next week. Big thanks to Pat MacWilliams from the Mass Collective joining us today. That was awesome. Hope everyone has a great week. Rene, have a great call. See you next time.
Brother.
All right.